I want to bring in now New York Times senior political correspondent and CNN political analyst Maggie Haberman. Obviously, this is by no means a surprise to anyone that this is the path that we've seen McCarthy take. I mean, maybe the way he took it there wasn't exactly what he said. I mean, this is something that Donald Trump has been talking about since July.
So he's getting millions of dollars illegally from China. And then you say, hey, they impeached me over a phone call that was perfect. Why aren't they impeaching Biden for receiving tens of millions of dollars? Why isn't he under impeachment?
Obviously, no evidence about the millions of dollars from China, but is it clear that Trump is a major driving force in this to you?
He is certainly somebody who supports it, is behind it, has been talking about it, as you see in those clips, has been talking about it behind the scenes. How aggressively he is pushing for it with McCarthy directly, I think, is an open question. But there's no doubt that Trump, and this is his style, he sort of drops something into the conversation and Republicans take it up. And it's often offered as some kind of a suggestion. It's not a surprise that it went this route. I do think it's true, though, that McCarthy's about face was striking in terms of requiring a vote to move ahead.
Why do you think
inquiry.
so?
Because I think that it speaks to the fact that his members are getting very restless, and he sees a real concern for himself from his right flank. And he is very good at reading the room in that way, and he sees where danger is coming from, and he acted. Now, I don't think that anyone else has enough votes to win the speakership right now against him, but I do think it speaks to what everybody thought was going to happen when he became speaker, which is that he is going to be sort of beholden to a certain group of right-wing Congress members.
Yeah, and for some of them, an inquiry is not even enough. They want to move full steam ahead with it, a full impeachment of President Biden.
Well, and it's important to note, Caitlin, that, look, to Congressman Goldman's point, we don't know, there's no evidence so far that ties Joe Biden to any of this, at least nothing that they have brought forward and that we have seen. Now, you know, they're suggesting that that could change if they move ahead. Something else that could change if they move ahead is this could benefit President Biden. This could end up having ramifications for Republicans if voters who don't really want to see these kinds of inquiries all the time feel like this is going too far. And I think what you heard from the congressman just now, what he was talking about real work that has to get done, that's what you're going to hear Democrats talk about over and over and over again.
Yeah, and what does an impeachment inquiry even look like if the government is shut down is another question. McCarthy went out of his way today to say this is only an impeachment inquiry. Obviously, that's likely to make moderate Republicans feel better about this who are in districts that President Biden won. But you know President Trump as well as I do, former President Trump, an impeachment inquiry is not going to be sufficient to a former president who was impeached twice, is it?
I don't think so, although it's important to remember that he's also been very focused on getting his own impeachment record expunged. That's been something he's been talking about a lot, too. We will see which one is more important to him. But I do think, to your point, as we have seen former President Trump face more pressure from these criminal inquiries, he has ratcheted up the talk about impeaching Biden. And it will be surprising if he feels content stopping at we're just asking questions.
Yeah, it seems to be a hope that it would muddy the waters here. Right. We have seen some moderate Republicans say they're kind of fine with this. They're surprisingly on board, a few of the moderates here in New York. Senate Republicans, though, have been either outright dismissive or deeply skeptical of this. Senator McConnell, I mean, how do Senate Republicans handle this, do you expect?
I think it's a great question, and I think we're going to see in the coming days. But you are correct that a lot of them have expressed skepticism about these efforts so far, not just on impeachment generally, but on where this is all heading in terms of the evidence. Now, could something happen that changes that? Absolutely, but we'll see.
Yeah. Maggie Haberman, a lot of interesting times
a lot of stuff.
ahead. Thank you very much.